Hi guys, my here, and it's been a while since I've done a foot-ahead video. I've had a bit of time, not quite enough to do anything with Barnet, and I've already got a Tottenham video out today, so I thought I'd do this. It's been playing on my mind, what's happening to Barcelona? You know, just something I've been thinking about. Do they have the false 4-3-3? I don't think they do. We're just going to have to go with the normal one, I think, unfortunately. Show subs. I didn't know you could do this. Right, well, we're going to have some fun with this. Okay, so let's first of all start from the back and go with the goalkeeper. Victor Valdez, never been a good keeper, never will be, overrated to hell, always had a brilliant defence to head it in front of him, but for me, every time I watch him, there's a mistake in him, I genuinely haven't watched a match where I haven't seen a mistake from Victor Valdez, so for me that's quite an easy one to see what's wrong there. Victor Valdez just isn't a very good keeper. Let's go to right back in Dani Alves. Oh, I must have spelled that wrong. Alves. There we go. I won't bother with team of the year. Well, Dani Alves, where do I start? You know, he gets forward, brilliant going forward. You know, still as good as he used to be going forward. Maybe lost a bit of pace, but still fantastic going forward. However, he's lost that yard of pace, which means he's slower coming back. Which just means basically he's much worse than because originally he wasn't getting back anyway. And I'm going to do the other fullback next, which will be Jordi Alba, who also is a very attacking fullback. You can't have two fullbacks who attack and not have a protector of the midfield. You just can't do it, and you can't have defenders like Piqué and Mascherano, who are just too attacking. Neither of them can just sit there like Puyol does. Neither of them can just sit there and dominate defence. So you just can't have these fullbacks with with Busquets, Piqué and Mascherano. So now I'm going to do Jordi Alba, and it's basically just the same. You know, it's not like he's a terrible player. You know, like Alves. I mean, Alves isn't as good as he used to be, but he's still not a terrible player. But they're just too attacking for the rest of the team. If they had two really solid centre backs, then fair enough. They could go with that, or if they had, two relatively solid centre backs and someone like Song, who could just sit there. But no, they play Busquets, which is the wrong move. He's not strong enough, and you just can't get away with it. So now I'm going to do Piqué, and I've already said what I need to say on Piqué and Mascherano. So let's get them both in there. Yeah, they're just, neither of them are particularly strong. Piqué's quite strong, but neither of them are particularly quick. I mean, Mascherano's quite short, Piqué's quite slow. Yes, if you combined them together, they'd be a decent. Well, they wouldn't be decent. They'd be a very good centre back with Piqué's height, Mascherano's pace, and both of their tackling, both of their passing. Really, they're good players. Well, Mascherano's a good central midfielder. I don't know if he's a great centre back. He's just a bit short for my liking. Personally, that's just my opinion, but they're just not really strong enough as in strength to really actually dominate it. So now we're going to move up to Busquets, who again and we're going to make him a CM. Barcelona, they've been doing this for years. They just pass it about, which is fair enough when it works, when you're against small teams in La Liga who aren't strong themselves. But I said it straight away, as soon as the 4 teams went through, Barca immediately became the least favourite team to win, which they probably were already out of the 4 teams in the semi-finals. Real Madrid, I think, can beat them on in the Champions League. I just think they're better at the moment. I know Barca are top of the league, but okay, let me just say something. Barca are fantastic against weak teams, like you've got in La Liga. Teams who don't have really strong defenders. That's why when they come up against Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid, it's not so easy for them. Whereas a couple of years ago, 5-0. They've lost some skill in their team. They've obviously lost Puyol from their team, who was, without Puyol, their defence is nothing. Literally, you replace Mascherano with Puyol, it's a completely different team. Completely different. It's a team that could beat Bayern. Not that probably would, but it's a team that would stand a chance. This Barca team doesn't stand a chance. Anyway, Busquets, yeah, he's just a bit weak. Nothing really screams out for me about Busquets. I mean, he's got alright positioning. He's quite tall, but he never seems to win headers. Basically, they've got a stats bang on. He's relatively balanced. He's not quick. He's not a great shooter. You know, he's decent defensive midfielder, and he's got all right passing. You know, he never really has to do any extravagant passes, but he's just, he's an average player. He's nothing special. You know, whereas you've got players like Fabregas, Song, who deserve to be in the team because they're world-class players. I'm not just saying that, they proved it on other stages. Xavi's one who's never done anything for me. Passes it about, great, he's the world's best passer. Can he do anything else? No, he can't. It says here he's got decent dribbling. Yeah, okay, you can argue he's got good close control. Yeah, fair enough, but that all goes to his passing. He doesn't actually use it to get past anyone. You know, he might have to get past the odd player, but he's never going to go and try and get past someone like Dante, who would just smash him off the ball. Chiellini, who would just smash him off the ball. He's never going to go and do that. He's never even going to go and try, because he's never that high enough up the pitch, which is fair enough if you're going to do your job well. However, passing the ball back to Piqué to pass it to Iniesta. Iniesta is Barcelona. Iniesta and Messi, are Barcelona. The rest of them, it's 9 other players who aren't great. That's not my opinion, that's fact. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but if you knew what the first thing about football, you would see Barcelona are a team of very average players, very overrated, carried by 2 players who are 2 of the best players ever. Xavi, and I keep saying Xavi, Iniesta and Messi. And of course, you know, Piqué, you know, on his day he's good. Valdez, on his day, he's alright. Mascherano on his day, he's great. Alba on his day, he's great. Alves on his day, he's great. Xavi never really has a day. He's always on his day, if you say at his best, because he's always passing it back to Piqué, or passing it to Busquets, or passing it to Iniesta, who does all the work. You know, he doesn't really do anything for me, Xavi. He's got great passing stats, don't get me wrong, but he never really seems... He's never far enough up the pitch. When he is, he does terrible shots. I haven't seen him score a goal that's not a penalty for years, which is fair enough. You know, he's not a goal-scoring midfielder. Fair enough. But if all he's going to do is pass, for me, why not just have Fabregas in there who can do pretty much as good on passing, but can also shoot, is strong, can dribble, you know, can tackle to a certain extent. He's taller, so he'll be better in the air, you know, and is just quicker, I think. I would imagine, anyway. I've actually seen Fabregas sprint. Anyway, that's my little rant on what's-his-face done. The only central midfield version of Iniesta is Team of the Year. So, like I say, I think Iniesta is a world-class player, you know, there's no hiding that, you know. Always, for me, been the best Barcelona player. For me, has never been the best Barcelona player in the team, because they had... Well, first of all, they had Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. I think Ronaldo played there. Figo. I've already said Ronaldinho. Then Messi came along, and they had, you know, Xavi being overrated, and Iniesta's been there, and he's always been there, and he's always been key. You know, he is their key player. Whether it be on the wing, in central midfield, you know, he's probably played left back, possibly even centre back at some point in his career. He you know, okay, he's probably wouldn't be a very good centre back, but yeah. So Iniesta is a key player. So you know, I can't really blame anything gone wrong in this season on him. I mean, I believe they're still top of La Liga, which is fair enough. You know, great, you're winning your league, you're doing as much as you can in your league, pretty much, which is fair enough. La Liga is a shit league, but they can't go any higher than that in terms of leagues. When I say it's a shit league, I mean like the quality of football. It may be nice to watch, you know, if you enjoy the tiki-taka football, which personally I don't. It's boring to watch. I enjoy watching a team like Bayern Munich or Juventus who will steamroll teams and will make games interesting, unless they don't need to, unless they've already won the first leg 4-0 and can just sit back and knock a ball over the top of the defence and score 3 goals away at the Nou Camp. So yeah. Anyway, so on the left wing, I believe we have Pedro. If I spell, yeah, there we go. Pedro, you know, okay, you know, he's done things in the past that have been great, you know, but he's not a consistent player. Okay, he's not a poor player, you know, he's not as bad as Busquets or Xavi, or, you know, what Alves is now, Valdez. You know, he's not that low in their team, you know, he's still got a load of room to grow, Pedro, you know. So, I believe he's like 23 or something. So Pedro, he's not a poor player by any standards. But when you look at a team trying to win the Champions League, you know, okay, you could put him in there if you had at least 5 other players who were better. But when he's your third best, attacking option, that I'm counting Iniesta as an attacking option, and I'm not counting Villa in that list because they don't seem to play him for some strange reason, even though he's their best striker, apart from Messi. So yeah, Pedro by no means is he a poor player, but if you take a look at Bayern Munich, they've got Ribery in that position. They have Robin, who can also play that position. They have Shaqiri, who's younger and probably just as good as well, from what I've seen of him in real life. From what I've seen of him in FIFA, Shaqiri is just as good. And then you go to teams like Real Madrid, you've got players like Di Maria. Ronaldo, obviously, can't really compare him to Ronaldo, that's unfair. But they've got players like Di Maria, and then go to Man United. Nani, on his day, is as good as I'd say Nani and Pedro are very similar. They're not the most consistent players, but they'll do your job. I'll put it like that. And there's not really much to say. He's an average player when you're talking Barcelona players. These obviously you suck him in Arsenal's team, great, amazing player. But that's no disrespect to Arsenal, who are one of my favourite teams, by the way. But no, I would just play Villa there every day, all day, every day. He's got the experience. He's a better player. Surely, Tito. This is one thing. Tito doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Let's put it like that. And then you get Sanchez, who, let's be honest, is poor. There's not really much more to say than that. He doesn't have a cross in him. He's not particularly quick. He scores a few goals, but he's not particularly good. He's a good dribbler, I'll give him that. But he doesn't do anything special, I'm not going to waste my time on him. You have your opinions. I haven't really seen enough of him, because I tend to watch when I've watched Barca, they tend to play Villa more when I've watched them, apart from in the Champions League, obviously. So that's just, I don't know, that's just my opinion. I haven't really seen a whole lot of Sancho. I've probably watched him in 10-15 games over the last 2 years. Yeah, he's not a terrible player, but again, when you're talking Barcelona, when you're talking a team trying to win the Champions League, trying to win La Liga, he cannot be a player you want there. Someone like Di Maria, someone like Eden Hazard, Juan Mata, Neymar, who they have been rumoured with getting, they are the types of players you want. And I can't judge Neymar on how he's doing in Europe, but based on how he's done in Brazil, based on how he's done for the national team, I think Neymar's a great player. That's all you can go by. You can't go by your opinion of what you think he would be like, because you can't have an opinion on that, because no one knows, It's like Falcao. I'm subscribed to someone who said, why it would be a bad move for Chelsea. Personally, I can't see any reason why it would be a bad move. But he picked out the point that players do flop. But you can't just use that as an excuse to say they definitely will. Well, for me, Chelsea buying Falcao, if he's gonna flop, it's worth the risk for £40 million plus Dembaba or Torres, which is personally what I try to go for. Messi, obviously no problems there. The one problem against Bayern and PSG is because he got injured. He did score a great goal against PSG, in all fairness. It was such a beautiful pass from Dani Alves, let me just say that. Yeah, but Messi, great player, not the world's best ever. I personally prefer Ronaldo even now, but yeah, he's a great player, you can't argue. Now, by no means is this a bad team. I'm not saying they're a bad team in world football, but they, for me, aren't in the top 5 lined up like this. For me, they're not in the top 5. Now, this has already been quite a long video, but I'm going to go on more, and I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to try to change it. So, you take a look at the players I'm knocking out. And some of them you may not agree with, Now, that's 6 players, is it? Yes, 6 players. When there are 6 players who, in my opinion, aren't going to win me the Champions League, so in my Tottenham one, if I see 6 players in my starting lineup, which personally currently I don't, but anyway, if I see 6 players that I think, I don't think, they're gonna, they could be in the squad, but in the starting lineup, I don't think with these 6 players we could win the Champions League. Now, by no means does this mean they have to replace all 6 of these players. No way do they need to do that. 2 or 3, yes. Valdez is one they definitely need to do. I don't know how. Yeah, this guy, the Inter Milan keeper, is someone they've been rumoured with. I've only watched, I think, 2 Inter Milan matches in the Serie A, and I know I've watched some Europa League matches. I can't remember. I watched one against Tottenham. You know, from what I've seen, he's a decent keeper. From what people have told me, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. So for me, get him in. Why not? Centre back, like I said, Poyle. He will need to, you know, he will retire soon though. So after he's retired, I would go for someone like Chiellini. They don't need another, you know, a brilliant passer. Chiellini is by no means a terrible passer. They need a boss, someone who's going to dominate the defence, someone who can push over strikers like, you know, Drogba, or I'm trying to think of a strong striker who's not shit. Falcao, someone who could just push him over. Now Piqué, yeah, he could, but Piqué just seems a little bit weak to me. You know, he's a strong player, but for someone you want to be pushing Falcao off, that's never going to happen. In central midfield, for me, Alex Song fits their playstyle fine. You know, he's strong, he's got decent tackling. Very underrated player for me. At Arsenal, obviously, people saying like he was as good as Fabregas. Those people were stupid. You know, he was not as good as Fabregas. But yeah. And speaking of Fabregas, that is, you know, exactly what I want to replace Xavi. You know, just as good at, well, almost as good as at everything that Xavi does. You know, just as quick, just almost as good a passer, just as good a dribbler, much stronger. Probably a bit quicker because I've actually seen him sprint. Probably better defensively, taller, so better in the air. Just all round a better player for me, Fabregas. Maybe not as consistent a player as Xavi. You know, he'll consistently get you brilliant pass rates, but yeah, whatever. Then right back, really, there's not many. Obviously, Lahm is a bit unrealistic, so to be honest, I can't really think of any. But Dani Alves is getting old anyway. So yeah, to be honest, I really can't think of who they would sign. You know, who they realistically. Obviously, if it was on me, I'd go and sign someone like Michael Richards, someone who's strong, but a decent passer, will get forward, but will also get back. Someone like that, not necessarily Michael Richards, but obviously that's not going to happen, I don't think. Now, for the right wing was another one I was a bit like, what would you, you know, what would you, who would you buy? You know, just what would you do? And this is my choice. I thought, why not put Messi out on the right, where he can cut in size, you know, he's pretty much as effective, you can have him swapping around, and get someone, you know, someone just, I don't know how this is going to go down, but someone like Edison Cavani. You know, I know they had Ibra, who's obviously a similar striker, and it didn't really work out, and also proved himself in Serie A, and it didn't really work out. But for me, someone like Cavani might be what Barca need. You know, it's difficult to say when you're trying to replace Messi. I just couldn't think of a right winger, to be honest. I could not think. I could think of right wingers better than Alexis Sanchez, but I couldn't think of anyone better. Obviously, you could put Neymar out there as well. You could easily just go and get Neymar and stick him on the right wing. Of course, you could do that, and that would still work, you know. So yeah, that's basically what I would do. And you know, they've got the funds to do it. It's just, will they sack Tito? They probably should. He's not a very good manager. Doesn't seem to know what he's doing. Plays Messi ahead of Fabregas when Messi's at about 10%. He was just he seems to go on reputation more than he should. You know, Xavi, in the past, you know, the 2008-9 season, world class. You know, he probably scored a goal that wasn't a penalty. He probably got a shot on target that season. No, but all seriousness, you know, they were a much better team. They were a machine then, because they had Poyle, they had what's his face, Abidal, who's quite strong. You know, Dani Alves was in the prime of his career. You know, Messi that was probably one of his best seasons, Messi. And they just had the passion. You know, so yeah, that's where I think it went wrong. Tell me what you think. Tell me who you play, what you would have done differently to Tito. Most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Goodbye.